connections. We've got some really good subjects for you today that I hope you enjoy. Joining us right now, he is a local chiropractor, Dr. Sam. Happy Friday, Dr. Sam.
Same to you, Nazzy.
And of course, as always, from the Concord Co-op, the director of development, my good friend and a wonderful, wonderful tap dancer, Greg Lessard joins us again. How are you, Greg?
Oh, I'm splendid. I wish my screen was bigger because I would be able to show you my routine.
I know you've been practicing. One day we're going to cut into that. So it's a new year, and we have an opportunity to start this year off healthy. And a lot of people don't realize that chiropractic is so important. I see a chiropractor, and I know when it's been a while since I haven't been to a chiropractor. Dr. Sam, he considers himself an extremely blessed to be able to touch people and assist them with their wellness goals through chiropractic after 25 years. Now, one of the greatest rewards, Dr. Sam says, is having the opportunity to teach people how their body works and how to listen and properly interpret the signals that show up in the way of symptoms. And for me, Dr. Sam, a lot of times it's my sleeping. I know that I haven't been to a chiropractor in a while. My sleeping is off. Yeah. What's the science behind that?
Well, the science, it's really very basic and very simple, Nazzy. Our body talks to us. Our body's going to give us symptoms, and those symptoms may very well be a headache or low back pain, or they can just be an interruption in that regular rhythm of how our body gets its rest and sleep and repairs itself. Right. And if something is off, those are sometimes the very first red flags that our body's going to say, hey, there's something going on here, and you should take care of me. And that's typically not asking for a sleeping pill or a sleep aid or, a painkiller. It's saying, maybe there's something going on with the spine and the communication system with the brain to the body, which can be impacted and interfered with improper spinal alignment. That's why posture is so important.
Can you tell, so during the day, by the way you're sitting or by the way you're slouching or the way you're standing, can you tell that somebody is maybe off just by looking at them, Dr. Sam?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our spine, our proper spine and proper posture, we want to have a certain baseline. And when we're looking at that from the front and the back, we want to see our shoulders level with the ground and a straight line. Right from our head, our nose, our navel, right down to in between our feet. It's like when we're standing up straight, we want to be like a telephone pole.
Right.
And from side view, looking at posture for the most part, we want to see that straight line as well. When we look at it with an X-ray, it's not straight at all from the side view. We have these gentle flowing arcs and curves in our spine, and that's naturally good posture. But we want to be upright. And oftentimes we forget that when we're sitting at a desk. Most of the workforce nowadays sits at a desk on a computer for 8 to 10 hours a day. That does not support our proper spinal positioning, both for our lumbar curve or our cervical curve.
Now, Dr. Sam, it was better posture for a better year. It doesn't matter how many times I try to remind myself to have better posture at my desk. 10 minutes later, I'm not doing it. So do you have any tips for, ways to make it more ingrained, more of a part of my day rather than I just fall out of the practice so fast?
And that's very typical. Most people, they have the very best intentions, particularly at the beginning of the year. We want to, meet our health goals and make our health goals. But then we find, how do we keep up with those? One of the simple ways is, when we're sitting at our desk, for instance, when I start working with patients regarding their posture and their spinal alignment, and we start the process of bringing that spine back into a healthy alignment, they find it much easier to catch themselves. They say, now I'm much more aware of this, and they can catch themselves. I've had a young patient recently come in, it was just this past week, and she said, we're talking about my posture. She's in her 20s, she had a forward head shift. She said she sets a timer on her phone that goes off every 10 minutes, just as a reminder, when she's sitting at her desk working, bring herself right back up. That's
good idea.
I learned from someone that was very effective. That could be very effective.
Yeah, my wife does that same thing with water. She has little timers on her phone, that reminds her, I think every hour to drink. And that's, you know, the lifestyle that we're all living. We're go, 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 go. We're constantly working and our brain is focused. Sometimes you have to set those reminders.
Yes, because we're not programmed or supported for self-care. We have to take that initiative ourselves.
Dr. Sam, can you talk a little bit about the time or the amount of adjustments it takes to bring the spine back into alignment based on the amount of time it's been out of alignment? You know, it seems that, you know, I've gone to you several times for several different issues that I've had, but you know, it isn't that I could go in there one time and for bad posture and have you corrected at one particular meeting with you.
Exactly. Now, there's a specific protocol that is designed to answer that question. And it depends on many factors, Greg. It depends on an individual's age, the history they've had, the impacts and the injuries they may have been subjected to. Sometimes those are even self-inflicted through recreational activities or work-related postures, and the level of arthritis in someone's spine.
Right.
Now, based on, say, a spine that doesn't have a lot of arthritis and the postural misalignments are visible, sometimes we're working with an individual maybe 2.5 to 3 months. Other cases, when they come in and there's arthritis and it tells us that that misalignment has a stronger grip on the spine, it's been going on perhaps a decade or more, we may be working together 4 to 6 months. But with that type of work and that type of attention to that, we've shown with our x-rays, with our examinations, that we can bring that spine back to a stable place. Now, sure, after 6 months of investment in that, that's going to require some maintenance as well.
Right.
Because it will have a tendency to go back to where it was. But basically, for most of the patients who come into my office, we're working with a period of maybe 2 months to maybe up to 6 months of really focusing on that concern.
Can I just say, there is no better feeling that when the chiropractor, when you have this motion here and you adjust the spine, that release of endorphins, that adjustment, that is such a great feeling. Anybody that's never been adjusted by a chiropractor, you just feel great afterwards.
I had my adjustment from my chiropractor last night, and it was the same exact thing. And I do that adjustment, and it's not appropriate for everybody, Nazzy, and some people, their body's going to say so, but I know what you're talking about. It's a feeling that your body just says, this is right. This is good. And it's like saying thank you 1,000 times.
It really is. Now, let me ask you a question here, Dr. Sam. We've been, obviously, everybody's schedule has been off because of the pandemic. Lots of people are working from home, and they're trying to juggle work and you know, their kids' schedules and dinner. Have you found that this has put people's spinal alignments out of whack more because of stress, or just because we're sitting at our computers more behind it? Have you found that we've been worse over the past few months?
Absolutely. During the course of perhaps the last 9 or 10 months, you know, people who were used to working in an office setting that may have been ergonomically correct, now they're sitting on their sofa all day or at their dining room table all day. And there are those added stresses. Kids, they're not in school. We have to watch them while they're doing their schooling. This dog wants to be on my lap all day, and all of these things. It's definitely impacting our society in so many ways, but particularly on a spinal level. I can definitely and confidently say I've been noticing that in my practice.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
I figured as much. Yeah. And I can imagine a lot, you know, stress affects your spine as well too. So I can imagine there's a lot more.
Well, when you think about that, I mean, we get stressed and we can always tell these muscles around our neck and shoulders are tightening up. And if any of those spinal segments that are attached to those muscles are misaligned, it's just going to pull them out worse and further. And that kind of happens below our radar, but all of a sudden we don't feel as good anymore.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, Dr. Sam, listen, we want to thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Sam.
Yep. Be well. We're going to turn it over to our next guest. We have got Sara Woods Kender, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about how food makes you feel and understanding Food Sensitivities. And Sara Woods Kender is a clinical herbalist and Reiki master, over 10 years of experience as an herbal practitioner. She owns Sacred Tree Herbals in Meredith and offers classes on beginning and advanced herbalism, consultants, and custom formulas, and shamanic Reiki sessions. And you can visit her at sashaherbs.com. Welcome, Sasha. How are you?
It's Sara. It's Sara's Herbs.
Sara. Welcome, Sara.
Hi, thank you. Nice to be here.
I love looking at the background because I feel healthier looking at all those herbs that you have on your shelves over there. What do you have in the back of you right now, Sara?
What do I have? Over 200 herbs. All right. Well, lavender.
Oh, I need some of that. Need some lavender.
I got tons of stuff. I have marshmallow root. I have nettles, eyebright, burdock root, lemongrass, lemon balm, lemon verbena, all the lemons. I've got angelica root. You want me to start from the A's to the Z's?
we need a longer program. We need a longer program than that.
We'll do a different video for that. So, Sara, let me ask you this. So let's say somebody messages you or comes into your shop and they say, look, I'm having all kinds of sensitive stomach issues, all kinds of digestive issues. Where is the first place you go? What herb is the first herb that you will recommend to somebody with a sensitive stomach? And I'm asking for a friend, and I happen to be that friend.
Okay.
I have the most sensitive stomach of them all.
First I would go through what you're eating on a daily basis and what foods tend to irritate you. But I find that for the lion's share of people, it's because you're low in stomach acid. And so the things that I would go to are the herbs that help move the bile from the liver. And when you do that, and when you give these herbs that help stimulate the liver and the gallbladder, you're going to support that hydrochloric acid action in the gut. But, if it's, right after you eat, or 20 minutes after you eat, or, a day after you eat, it could all be different. But if it's about 20 minutes after you eat and you just feel kind of blah, it's low stomach acid. So I would do bitter herbs, things like burdock and dandelion root to help move the bile through the body, from the liver to the stomach.
Now, for me, I feel I'm just the opposite. I think I have too much stomach acid because I've got a really bad acid reflux, and I've constantly got indigestion. And I'm sharing a little bit too much here today. I'm sorry to be.
And that's fine. It's actually likely not too much. And I know that is a common myth out there because you feel the acid and it's just, it causes all this discomfort. What the problem is you have this upper esophageal sphincter that will remain open if you don't have enough stomach acid, and you get basically blowback or, that stomach acid rising up through your throat, causing all the problems. So bitters before meals can create the atmosphere where that sphincter will close and you won't feel discomfort. Now, there's other caveats to all that. If you have gallbladder problems, or if you actually have a sphincter that is like a hiatal hernia, can cause distortion in that upper sphincter, but also it can. I've known people that have a tear in it, and then they're going through surgery, which I think might be their only outlet for relief. But so I go through all these questions with people because everyone's digestive problems aren't the same, So, but I do start with stomach acid because a lot of times that's what people's issues are.
What are the forms of bitters? How do you use bitters, or what does it look like?
Would you like me to go get my spray?
A spray. Yes. You've already answered the question. It's a spray.
It's a spray. Hold up. She's going to get the spray right now. I love this. This is good because, Greg, I really do have food sensitivities, stomach issues. Oh, it's a spray. Right there.
It's a digestive bitters.
Okay.
And it's got gentian root in there, yellow dock root, burdock root.
And you're just spraying this right in your mouth, or you're spraying it on your food? What do you do?
You put it in your mouth, 3 to 5 drops, 10 minutes before you eat, and it's lovely.
I need to get some of this. I need to get some of this right now.
You should visit me, Naz.
Listen, I'm coming. I might buy all of those herbs that you see in the background.
Well, so while we're on the topic, where are you located, Sara?
So I'm on 48 Main Street in Meredith, New Hampshire, right behind Mills Falls, big yellow building.
I know.
There's I'm not the only business in the building, so I'm kind of tucked in out back. And go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Sara. In addition to my acid reflux I also have a lactose intolerance. Allergic to milk, allergic to, what kind of herbs would you recommend for that? Because I'll tell you, I miss pizza. I miss ice cream. I miss having a glass of chocolate milk.
That's an enzyme issue. And it could be related to gallbladder problems. It could be related to lack of enzymatic action, but you can take a lactase and you can actually.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work for you?
No, it doesn't work.
When you're not making an enzyme, it's kind of, a problem. So I'd love to tell you that you could eat your ice cream, but if you don't have the enzyme to break it down, it's not really, there's really no herb for that. Do you
want to hear how sad my story is? There's a local ice cream shop here in Concord called Arnie's Ice Cream. I actually have Nazzy's favorite, my own flavor of ice cream on the menu at Arnie's, very popular flavor, and I can't eat it. I did.
That's a bad story, Nazzy.
Yep.
So there's a lot of non-dairy options for ice cream. I love oat milk, and I'm sorry, but their ice cream is awesome. So, sometimes, and that's different than a sensitivity. That's actually your body's not making a certain enzyme. But sensitivities, really about what the topic is about is, a lot of us have these sensitivities to food, and they're usually the proteins in the food. So it's the casein, and in your case, in the dairy, it's the sugar. That's the lactose intolerance. But most people have the casein, which is the protein. It's hard for us to break it down. Protein in wheat is gluten. That's hard to break down. A lot of times that is stomach acid issues that it causes people's sensitivities. But again, there's ways around this. So in terms of how does food make you feel, a lot of times it doesn't happen until a day later, even sometimes 2 days later, depending on your metabolism in your body, because everybody's different. So, I always start when people have digestive issues, it's so important to start a food diary. And sometimes it can be cumbersome every day. But what do you have for breakfast? How do you feel? What do you have for lunch? How do you feel? But not just how you feel right after you eat. How do you feel the next day? So I have a dairy sensitivity, and it could be a day later where there it is. That's, and then I'm dealing with that. So it's really about knowing your body and knowing what you're putting in your body. I love to talk to people with kids, because if you can get kids on board to how food makes them feel, they're going to make better choices when they're older.
Sara, understanding food sensitivities, are there some sensitivities that we're not associating with the food that we're eating? We just feel some discomfort, but we're not making the correlation to it's our diet?
I absolutely think so. I think there's a lot of disconnect between what we put in our mouth and how it makes us feel. There's a difference between eating well and just, eating when you're hungry. So, the diet thing can be complicated for some people, but I like to keep it simple. 50% fruits and vegetables every day will keep things moving. It usually keeps you feeling really, really good. But there's some unique issues out there with certain sensitivities that, instigated by toxins in our environment or what have you, medications can cause that too. So it's really about peeling back the layers and figuring out what you're eating every day, and because everybody's an individual.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. There's a huge disconnect between what we put in our mouth and how that makes us feel. And it's about making those connections and knowing your body.
Sara, we're just about out of time. Give out your website so we can learn more about you and the products and everything that you have to offer at your shop.
Well, it's sarasherbs.com, no H in the Sara. I'm a clinical herbalist, like you said, and Reiki Master. So I make the products here. I do everything from skincare to syrups. I can formulate and target exactly what you need for your body for whatever imbalance is going on. And I use a lot of energetics. So what does that mean? It's basically, do you run hot? Do you run cold? Do you run dry? So we have to mix the herbs with the person. Custom tea formulations. I also have lots of fun stuff in my shop. It's not all stuff that you need to take for what's good for your body, but I have magical, I have stones and tarot cards and I have different types of tea, beverage teas, and things like that too. So I have something for everyone here.
Little something, one-stop shop. I like that.
Yeah. And with that, I think we're out of time.
Okay.
We are out of time. And Greg Lessard, we want to thank you as well. Really quick, plug the co-op if you could. Let everybody know where you're located and what's there.
Yeah, 24 South Main Street in Concord. The best thing to do is visit concordfoodcoop.coop. And the one thing I would suggest is go to our online store, and you can see all the different products that we offer. And anything that you're interested in, you can pick it up at curbside.
We also want to thank Dr. Sam for joining us. You can reach him at drsam@mycommunitychiro.com. Thank you guys so very much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Nazzy. See you later, Sarah.
Bye, Greg.